Hi, I'm Molly Hanse, and I'm a Minnesota Master Naturalist. One thing I value is just taking a moment to slow down and really notice what's happening in nature. It's something I've enjoyed doing since I was a child. And you don't have to be an expert to appreciate what you see, but the more time you spend looking, the more you want to learn about what you're seeing. And the more you discover, the more you appreciate it. So today I want to show you a drift of wild geranium in Carver County, Minnesota. My husband and I spent a few hours over Memorial Day weekend observing these wild geranium. This video will show you a small window into what seems like a simple thing, one native plant, that is actually supporting so much life. First, let's talk about pollinators. Wild geranium is a woodland plant that flowers just after spring ephemerals here in Minnesota, so it's an important food source for pollinators. The petals have dark lines that serve as a sort of arrow pointing the way toward the nectar at the base of the stamen. This is a western honeybee. Although honeybees are not actually native to Minnesota or the US, they are important pollinators, especially for agriculture. This one's really working these geraniums. Then there's bumblebees. This one's likely a common eastern bumblebee. And they seem to be a little too heavy for these flowers to handle. Here in Minnesota, we have at least 20 species of bumblebees, including 6 species that are in decline. I've yet to see a rusty patch bumblebee myself, which is endangered and also the Minnesota state bee, so I'm always on the lookout for them. This bumblebee is probably a queen. I recently learned that bumblebees have an annual colony life cycle, which starts with the emergence of the queen in the spring. She's likely building up resources to produce workers and grow her colony. There are all sorts of other awesome bees hanging out on this wild geranium. Minnesota has over 400 native bee species, and the vast majority are solitary bees, including carpenter bees, mason bees, leafcutter bees, and sweat bees. Bees are notoriously difficult to ID, and I am definitely not an entomologist, but just spending time with all these different types of bees inspires me to learn more. And I'm not positive, but I think this might actually be a cranesbill minor, Andrena distans. It's super exciting because this bee is a wild geranium specialist. They are solitary ground nesting bees only active in the spring to coincide with when wild geranium is in bloom. Okay, so bees are amazing, but we found lots of other cool insects too. Some are incidental pollinators like flies. Flies are super abundant and sort of like generalist foragers with a bad rap. Ants are incidental pollinators too. They're pretty widespread on these wild geraniums, running around looking for sugar. There are some insects that are less interested in the nectar and would rather eat the plant itself. I saw this inchworm eat a small hole in one petal, but maybe it decided geranium just didn't really suit its taste because it moved on pretty quickly. There are also lots of springtails all over the wild geranium, especially on the leaves. I didn't even know about springtails until recently. Turns out they are all over everything all the time. They're one of the most abundant living things on the planet. And they aren't even insects, they're closer to crustaceans. These globular springtails, affectionately called globbies, are particularly cute. And then there are the predators who hang out on the wild geranium, like this eastern fork-tailed damselfly. Here's one that was new to me, Myopa clausa, a species of thick-headed fly. They lay their eggs as parasites in western honeybees, miner bees, and digger bees. Pretty gross. We found a bunch of really cool spiders too. Some, like this mesh weaver, build their webs on the wild geranium and use that to capture their prey. We also saw a variety of jumping spiders, which are super fun to watch and incredibly cute. Jumping spiders don't use webs to snare prey. They actively stalk and catch them, so they move very quickly. They have excellent eyesight, and part of their charm is their big eyes. This white-jawed jumping spider was really fun to watch hop around. I enjoyed seeing this cute little jumping spider make a silken shelter out of a flower. Maybe it's a female building a little hideout to lay her eggs, or maybe she just wanted to tuck herself in for the night before it rains. These spiders, these springtails, these damselflies, these ants, these bees, all these insects play super important roles in our ecosystem, and so do native plants. In fact, none of us would be here if it weren't for them. We all depend on each other. So I highly recommend that you take some time to slow down and just observe nature. I promise that you'll be glad that you did.